lovelies out there. I'm Janine, also known as Yarn and Ewe Girl, and this is my channel where I talk about all the crafting craziness I'm getting into. And it's usually a lot of different things, not so much completion of those things. I think I have crafting ADD, and I get kind of sidetracked and excited about something for a short period of time, and then it kind of falls off a little bit. So what I've been trying to do is go through some of my knitting objects that I've been working on, my works in progress, and trying to clean those up a little bit. It's not been easy because I'm not really thrilled or excited about any of those projects anymore. So most of the time, what I've been thinking lately is I'm just going to rip out and restart new things, but that also requires work. Especially if it was a colorwork sweater or something that I was really pumped about. I maybe got through part of the yoke, and now having to rip that out can be daunting because all of those yarns are kind of intermixed. You're not only just ripping out a single color and winding it up, you're having to do like one color and then work on another color, and it's like all these different things, and it's a little daunting. But anyway, that's kind of what I've been working on. I really need to go through my stash and clean up my stash a little bit as far as my personal yarn. It's getting a little out of control. And then I just recently went and bought more because, of course, when your yarn stash is out of control, that's what you do. You go buy more yarn. I want to make some sweaters. I'm finally feeling inspired to do more knitting. I've been sewing a lot this summer, so I want to make some sweaters. It's getting to winter time. I don't know if it's like a summer doldrums that I get where I'm just like bleh about knitting, but the last couple years it's been like that, and so I've been focusing a lot on sewing garments in the summertime. But it's starting to get to be cooler weather. I want to be able to wear those things. And so I was looking through my stash the other day, like 2 days ago, and I realized I have a lot of single skeins. So nothing that really goes together to make a sweater. However, I do have a lot of sweaters in progress that I need to rip out. So instead of ripping out sweaters that I'm working on, I went and bought more yarn. But it's okay. It's okay, because this is what I do. This is my fun. It's not financially an issue because we get kind of, my husband and I both work part-time, and we kind of allot ourselves an allowance for free money, if you will. When we first were together, I was a huge consumerist. I've been way better, but I used to shop for clothing all the time. And I've been way better about that in recent years. But all that purchasing when I was younger kind of freaked my husband out a little bit when we were dating. So he's very frugal and he doesn't buy a lot of things. So it was a huge kind of separation between us as far as that goes. And so to not have money arguments, we allotted ourselves like allowances, and that money goes right out of the paychecks into a separate bank account, and that money we can spend on whatever we want to. We don't have to answer questions about it, and he's one of those guys that anytime I would come home, if I was wearing something new, he noticed it. He'd be like, is that a new shirt? Is that a new haircut? Is that a new, pair of glasses? Or whatever. He noticed it, and it was kind of like, dude, you're way too observant for me to get away with this anymore. So I couldn't get away with, shopping and him not noticing it. So that was our solution to the money, the spending dichotomy between us. So I have an allowance, and that money is my fun money. All the rest of the money goes into like a joint bank account that pays for the house, the bills, and all that stuff. It works for us. It may not work for everybody, but it works for us. And when our paychecks come in each week, a little bit goes into that account. So it's not like a financial issue that I'm spending too much because it's my fun money. But yeah, it's definitely starting to look like a hoarding situation. So I need to go through my yarn. I'm thinking I'll do like a de-stash, maybe on Instagram or something, but that's a lot of work too. So God, I'm lazy. We'll see. I know it's been a really long time since I've come on and podcast, so I'm excited that I'm doing this today again. He is such a good motivator, my husband. He's like, you should be getting on there and doing that. Like, I know how much you love to connect with other people. So life just, gets away from us. But I think I say that probably every single time. Anyway, so I might be doing a de-stash. I'm thinking about it. I'm going to go through my closet. I think that's my job today, because my closet not only carries like all my clothing, but yarn and stuff too. And it's getting a little out of control. And I'm really starting to feel like I need to be minimalist in a lot of that things. I say that, and then I, purchase more yarn. So there's a struggle happening in my brain, so to speak. So anyway, I have some finished objects to show you guys, some works in progress that you may have seen in the past on podcasts that I'm just trying to get cleaned up, and some new yarn acquisitions, some dream knitting, things like that. So welcome. If you are just joining me for the first time, I tend to ramble a bit, but thanks so much for watching. Like, this is my chance. It's kind of my chance to kind of connect with everyone. It's been, an interesting situation happening here with the world in general. And I feel like I'm losing some of that connection with my peeps. So this is my chance to kind of reconnect with you guys. Please reach out to me, though, if you have any questions about anything you see on the podcast. And let's just get started, and we'll kind of show you what I've been doing. So one of the most exciting things that I have finished is my Ziggy Interupted shawl. That is a crochet pattern by Sandra. I want to say she's like Cherry Heart Designs. I'm sure you guys have seen this on Instagram. It's a crochet pattern. It's basically like a giant scarf, and it uses little itty bitty granny squares and zigzag. And I have it tied together because I was trying to figure out, it's so big, trying to figure out how to wear it was a little interesting, but I did some research and sort of looked up online, like, how do you wear like a big shawl scarf thing? And they were talking about taking like two corners and like tying them together so you make yourself kind of like an infinity loop. And that seemed to work really well because it is so long. I'll show you. So this is the one end, and you have this little granny square panel here. And then you do a bunch of these zigzaggy stripes. And then you have another granny square panel. And I love these little granny squares. Like, I have visions of just doing a bunch of these tiny granny squares and making like a shawl out of just the tiny granny squares. It might be a long time coming. Sorry, I've got to yawn. I'm like, it's pretty early here, so if I'm yawning, I apologize. But anyway, so you do the granny squares second time. This is your second like stripe section. Third granny square panel. Third stripe section. Fourth granny square panel. Fourth stripe section. And last fifth granny square panel. And then you've got these little tassels at the end. So to wear it like a scarf, it's just like ginormous. And my chair like just rolled over it too. That's lovely. So it's just ginormous, and it's too big to just wrap around like really twice. So what I had done was I had taken like this corner here and tied it, you know, just kind of at the end here a little bit with the tassels, and just tried to be kind of gentle so that I didn't pull my tassels out, because I didn't want to pull my tassels out. But that way it's sort of, you know, held together a little bit better. And when I was walking around, it wasn't like dragging on the floor. And it kind of gave that illusion of that triangle shawl. But I love it. I really love it. I used all, well, not all. 4 of the colors are colors that I dyed myself. And I do have them all in the shop, I believe. And then one of the colors was a O-Loops yarn that I also have in the shop. So let me go take this off, and then I'll show you which colors are which. So the this one here, which is like kind of a cream base with bits of bright yellow, pink, green, and kind of gray sort of mixed together. That's the O-Loops, and it's I'm not going to remember the name. This is so bad. Oh, hang on. Ha! Found it. So it's Cahoots, and it's on her fashion knot. Now, she doesn't dye yarn anymore, so I have very limited quantity of this. I think I have 1 or 2 possibly in the shop. It's her sparkle base has a gold stellina in it, where my sparkle base has a silver stellina running through it. You can't really tell the difference when they're in a garment, but I really like the light sparkle. So that one is Cahoots, and that's O-Loops. This yellow one is Wildflower, and that's mine. This creamy one right here, this is Hot Toddy, also mine. The pink one, oh, that one's gonna, it's been a really long time since I've actually like looked at the tags and stuff. Okay, anyway, I need some coffee. I'll figure out what the pink one's called. The green one is Deep in the Woods. And yeah, the pink one's gonna haunt me. Hang on, I can find that one too. Oh, I'm so prepared today. Oh, My Bleeding Heart. That's right. The pink one is called My Bleeding Heart. And like I said, I have all of them in the shop. I also have this deep wine color that I think would have been a really good like combination with this too. But it was very fun to make. It did take me a long time. I got pretty much to the center, like finished the center panel, and then kind of like stalled. So this was one of the projects I pulled out. I probably started this like over a year ago. This was one of the projects that I pulled out of my stash closet and was like, okay, I'm finishing this. Like, this is going to be, I'm done. I want this to be done. I love the idea of this. There was a long time ago, one of the catalogs I got, I want to say it wasn't Company Store, but it was something kind of like that, but it had clothing in it. They had a scarf that was all these little, they were pentagons though in their granny squares, and I attempted to try to recreate it. I got like a granny square book, and it had like a pentagon shape in it, and I, made like 10. And then I was like, okay, I'm done. I can't do any more of this. So I was really proud of myself for finishing this. This was the first time I actually ever made tassels, and I love tassels. They're so cute. So I feel like I want to put them on all of my triangle shawls, all of my points on the triangle shawls. And I think that just like, it's a nice little touch, a little bit of pizzazz, if you will. So that is the Ziggy Interupted. I also really like the idea of making like a scrappy version of just I think she has a pattern. It's just Ziggy, where you just take minis and just do this part until you're done. I don't know. I'm pretty sure she has a pattern. I could probably fudge a pattern if I needed to, because the zigzag part was pretty easy and it went fairly quickly. So to be able to just do that and use up minis, that'd be super cool. You could also do it, in a large blanket version too. But I like the idea of wearing something that had all the colors and things that I love. So that would be a good scrap busting project. This one could be a really good scrap busting project as well. If you just have a bunch of like leftover bits of yarn, you don't even have to, it doesn't even have to really be cohesive in color. I think it would be super cool if it was just all chaotic color too. So that's something. It is a pay for pattern. I think, like $6.50 maybe, not that bad. Honestly, I don't think paying for a pattern is too much of a hardship. I appreciate the effort it goes into designing something, and if it's something that I don't feel like I can emulate on my own, then I will always pay for the pattern. I tend to a lot of times though look at something and go, maybe I can make something like that and I don't need to buy the pattern, and I just kind of like fudge it so it's not the same. I've done that with socks before. It's definitely not the same, and I would never publish a pattern that was somebody else's if I did something like that. But for me it's kind of a challenge in my brain. Be like, oh, I can do that. I know that stitch, and that just looks like a cable and some garter. I did that, I think, with Andrea Mowry had her honey thistle socks or honey socks or something like that, and they are literally like a cable on each side of a garter panel on top of a sock. And I was like, well, I know how to do a sock. I don't need to pay for that pattern because I can pretty much do that on my own. And there was another one, I think Cookie A. I haven't actually seen, she hasn't really put out, as far as I know, any other patterns, but she's a big sock designer. She had another one that was like cables in like a ribbing. And I was like, well, I can do that too. I don't need a pattern for that. So not everybody's like that though. So honestly, support support your designers, because I know there's a lot of pirating going on. Apparently there's like some websites that people are uploading pay for patterns. So, that's not really very cool. Unfortunately, it does happen. It happens in every industry, with movies, with audio books. Just there's always people who are not, like, don't want to pay for stuff, which, I mean, stuff costs money, but just appreciate the effort that went into the design and idea of it. And, if you do buy something, like, do the right thing and, like, don't upload it and share it with others. That just doesn't seem right. But anyway, enough about that. The other thing that I have been working on lately and finished is a couple pairs of slippers. I've been wanting a really good pair of knit slippers, and I've tried some felted patterns and I've tried some thrummed patterns, and I have liked them. I like the idea of, I don't want it to slip off my foot. Sometimes with a slipper, it sometimes slips off the foot. I also like the look of like having like a leather sole on the bottom. So I kind of playing around with pattern design for that. I'm not sure if I'll publish it or not. It's I've done it a couple times. I made 2 now, and the first pair I ended up making, like, I ripped out as I went and then tried again because I'm using Lion's brand Woolease, which is super, super bulky. And so fast project. I think I used it on like a size. I'm trying to remember now because I don't see my needle. I didn't see my needle in the bag that I was making it. I think it was a size like 10 or something. Could have been a 13. Maybe it was a 13. They were big. So it was probably like a 13 or something. I'll have to see. I can't remember. I did make some notes. God. But a lot of this for me is like very, I don't know, it seems slightly intuitive. And so sometimes I don't take notes and then I don't know what I did. And I just kind of wing it. But anyway, this is the first pair I made. And they are like a boot kind of. They come up a little bit around the ankle. Now I did, this is not the finish like what I liked the most. Like this one works, but I actually liked something else, and I'll show you in a minute. But it did, I used like 2 separate colors, and you could do, you know, all one color. I just wanted to kind of mix it up and make them sort of fun. So I don't know, this was like a new, it looked like it was maybe a new color release that they had at Joann's, and they were having a Lions sale. And so you know, it's got this little flap and a button. And the goal, these are going to be for my sister. She already knows because we were camping. And I'm like, do they smell like campfire? No, that's right. We weren't allowed to have campfires where we were at, which was unfortunate. But so I was making them while we were camping. She was trying them on as we were going because I was trying to make sure I got the size right and the fit right. And, you know, the heel right. But I want to stitch on some leather bottoms, and then I'll give this to her. And I actually bought leather, like a punch. I think it's not like one of those crank down machines. Like this cost me like $10, and it's like these little tubes, and you hammer onto the leather, and it hammers out a hole, like to make a belt loop or something like that. Let me see. I'll show you what I did. So this is one of the leather, and I don't know, can you see the holes there? That's holes that I punched out because I want to sew it on, and I didn't want to have to like force through a needle each time. So I use the punch, and I think what I'm doing with this is it's going to kind of come up a little bit on top of the foot here and sew around, and then so she'll have like almost like a skid protection there. And then there's one for the heel too that'll come up all the way around and sort of make a tab in the back. I've seen these like on other slippers, so I am kind of copying that idea with the leather, but I just thought that was kind of cool. And the leather this was another like neat idea. I bought a old leather jacket at Goodwill, and it was like a giant extra large, you know, men's jacket. And I think I paid maybe $20 for the jacket. And if you go to like a craft store and you buy leather, you get like maybe like a 8x9 or 8x6 rectangle or something. Not very big. I think you might get like, it might be folded in half or something, so it might be like a little larger. But I looked at Joann's the other day at their leather section, and they do have it. It was like $14 for this little folded thing that maybe I could get, I don't know, like 2 pairs out of. So the leather jacket, I just cut up into panels basically. So there were seams, you know, along the back. So I would just like cut up around the seam. And so then I had one big piece, and then I cut under the arm, and then I actually cut the arm leather off and tried to get as much of the leather off the jacket as I could. And it was in really, like, it's in really decent condition. Like, it's still very soft. And I'm just putting it on the bottom of a foot. So it was a really, like, kind of a cool idea. And normally, my first go-to isn't let's, you know, thrift something. That's not my mindset. I've always had a hard time with chaos in stores. Like when I go to a department store, I really like how everything is very visual, and I can see that there's like a cute outfit or a cute thing there. And so, and that's why those stores do, part of the reason why those stores do so well, and you end up paying like more because they are, you know, appealing to that in your personality, I guess, or the aesthetic is really pleasing for a lot of people. So sometimes going into those resale stores like Goodwill, or even like the Ross or Value Village or something like that, you know, like it's just a little, or even like Nordstrom's Rack, for example, like it's just a little more chaotic. They don't display things the same way, so I don't see what is there. You have to really like spend time and dig through what is there. So I struggle with that, and I'm trying to sort of break through that a little bit. So this has been one of the experiments that I've been doing, is just going to go into those stores every once in a while if I need something. Oh God, guys, sorry. If I need something, going into those stores, you know, and spending that little extra time and trying to desensitize myself, maybe is I don't know if that's the right word or not, but trying to kind of break through that barrier that I have. So that's not usually my first go-to, but I had read about, with all this clothing making, and I'm following a lot of people who hand make their clothes now, a lot of it is they're very into, you know, using what they have, thrifting, remaking. So there's a lot of that sort of coming into my consciousness from social media and different things. So I'm trying to be more mindful of that stuff. Mending something instead of just throwing it away if I can, you know, that kind of thing. So anyway, soles for the bottom of the slippers. So this pair is for Dana. Dana's my twin, if you guys are new to the podcast. We don't look at all alike. I should put a picture of her up so you guys could see, because I don't know if I've ever shared a picture of her. But she's my best friend, and pretty much she's probably one of the only persons I hang out with on a regular basis. I do have my knitting group that I love, and I'm trying to make sure that if I can, I'm going to go to my knitting meetings, because I think that helps too with like this social problem that, you know, everybody's been isolating for so long. So now that we're sort of able to do that, and most of us are, I think most of us are vaccinated. I don't know if all of us are vaccinated, but most of us are vaccinated. It makes things a little bit less stressful for that. So I'm trying to do that. Obviously, some of the states, and Oregon, I think, reissued their mask mandate. In Washington, I think it's the same thing. Like, you have to wear masks now indoors, which I'm fine with. And I don't even want to, like, go into that. So please don't, like, I don't want to talk about, you know, whether you believe in it or not, or whether you're for masks or not. That's just the way, like, you know, I follow the rules. These are the rules right now. So anyway, we can get together though, which is nice, because for a while we were trying not to be responsible. Anyway, slippers for my sister. And then I redid the pattern a little bit, and I realized I have to cut some threads out of here, but I wanted a pair for myself, and these ones I really want to put the soles on because they're kind of like a white color, and that's just a recipe for disaster, honestly. White's just, my floors are gonna dirty them up a lot. But anyway, this is my pair. I posted these on Instagram the other day, and I changed up like this is kind of the finalized pattern, and I sort of changed up a little bit compared to the other one. So Dana's, when you open the button, she has like the collar here around the ankle stops really early, and when you open the button on mine, okay, come on button, the collar, I extended the collar almost all the way around the slipper. And I also made it a little bit fatter because I felt like when I put hers on, her feet are bigger than mine, but when I felt like I put hers on, I felt like they were slipping off. There wasn't enough like around to kind of hold on to my feet, and I really wanted them to stay on my feet. So it just has, again, a little button, and you can place the button pretty much wherever you need it to make them tight enough around your ankle so they don't slip off your feet. But with the collar higher, there was no sort of gap here that showed through to your skin, or even here. I think it was on this side. Yeah, there's no like real gap or anything, and I wanted to make sure it was like nice and cozy all the way around. So I think those leather soles on this one would work, look really cute too. And then they come up on the top and stuff. And then I haven't punched out the bottom ones yet, but I really need to get on that. So they're not completely finished. I'm calling these a finished object because I can technically wear them the way that they are, but I want to, finish them up with the leather. Sorry, my nose is itchy. These are also Woolease Lion's brand. When I make stuff for my sister too, she's super sensitive. I love you, Dana. She's super sensitive about wool and certain fabrics and stuff. And so I'm reluctant to make her things because I like to make things in wool, and I don't mind if they're kind of itchy or rustic or whatever you want to call them. She has a really hard time with it, but she likes all the things that I make. So of course, sometimes I want to make stuff for her. But that's pretty much what I have for like completed things. I completed a lot of swimsuits over the summer too, which was a new endeavor for me. So I've been sewing now pretty regularly garments for over a year probably. I really got back into it when everything hit in March of 2020, and I was at home the whole time. So but I've always loved the idea of making swimsuits, and they cost so much. So I made like a ton of swimsuits. I think I made like 8 or 9, and I did make some for my sister. I gave her a couple. The last one I made for her though, like it's kind of gapey in the chest area, so she wore it, but weird thing is she had tried on mine, and we're pretty much the same size, like all over, except I think I have a fuller bust than she does. But she said, this one works great. It was the same pattern. It's cute, da-da-da. And I said, well, I made the cup size is bigger on this one. Do you think that will be okay? Or do you want me to go down, to the next cup size? And she said, no, I think this is fine. And so I just made what I made for myself, and it fits kind of gappy. So I think I'll have to like either pull in the elastic and like tack it down, or just kind of tuck the fabric and then sew the fabric a little bit more. I don't know. I'm debating on, I don't want to take it all apart and do it again, but we'll see. Yeah, I probably won't take it all apart and do it again. I'll probably just find some fudgy fix and stitch it down and call it good. So, excuse me, I feel like I have a frog in my throat. So that's finished objects. Now, I'm going to actually pause and get a glass of water because this is starting to sound like, little froggy. Hang on. Okay, thank you. I'm back. I got my water bottle now, and I got some water. And I'm good to go. Hopefully no more scratchy. Anyway, so moving on to things that I am currently working on. I'm trying to finish up, like I said earlier, projects that have been kind of languishing. And one of them is a pair of socks that I have done the first one. And I'd started on the second one, but I kind of just like stalled out. Let me get the pattern out here. So I tell you what it's called actually. And I just kind of want to be done with them. And I'm thinking I need to make, like in the future, I need socks that are, I don't know. Maybe I need something a little more mindless these days. I haven't quite figured out what I need, but hopefully someday. Okay, come on. Where are you? Oh, my good Lord. So I have like all the pattern pages, but not the front that actually tells you what this one is called. That's awesome. Yeah, weird. Okay, well, whatever. It's funny because I think I've done this before with you guys as I've looked through this pattern. I'm like, I have no idea what it's called. But anyway, I'll figure it out. I'll put it in the bar there after the fact. But this is pair or sock number 1. I'm just going to kind of slip it on my finger so you can, or my hand so you can see the pattern. So it's like little trees. Maybe it's Into the Woods or something. I don't know. I'll have to look it up because clearly I don't know. So little kind of trees throughout, little texture. It's traditional, like from the cuff to the toe, and it has like a regular old heel flap and gusset here. And I love the way they fit these heels and stuff, but I don't know, I've just like stalled out a little bit on the sock. The yarn is Squirrel Girl by Junk Yarn. It was part of her women superhero collection she did. Like it was a mystery club 3-month thing, and there was like a Wonder Woman skein, and then there was Squirrel Girl, and then there was one called Jubilee, which I'm not sure who Jubilee is. I'm wondering, I think she might be like an X-Men character. I'm not 100% sure. Not really sure who Squirrel Girl is either. But I really like this, and this was very similar to the color that the gal was using in the pattern, and I thought it was pretty. And I wanted to do, have the pink in addition to it. So I'm really close. Like I said, I'm hoping I'll finish this soon. I've got, past the heel now, and I'm just on the last bit of the foot, and I think I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I have 8 of the little, but how I keep track in pattern socks is I don't usually keep track of my rows. I'm not good at that. But I can visually, like if it has a pattern, I can visually count, how many repeats I did just by looking at the pattern, and then I go, oh, okay, well I need 8 like trees before I do the toe. So that's kind of what I did here. So this one, you finish like the 8th tree, and then you do the last, I think it's 6 rows after or something like that, and then I started the toe. So I'm getting there. It's really close. Just started the 7th set of trees, so very, very close. Looking forward to having these finished because they are very cute, and the yarn is super squishy and soft, and yeah, it'll just be nice to sort of have that complete. I've got, when I was going through all of my yarn the other day looking for sweater yarn, I realized I have so much sock yarn, just single skein sock yarn, that I really need to just do something, start making socks or sell it or something. So I don't know the name of the pattern, but I do know the author. The author is Melody Hoffman, and it is a pay-for pattern on Ravelry. And that's one of the things I'm trying to finish. And this is in my Stitch and You bag. Super cute little sheepies. It's nice and sturdy. The other one that I have been working on that is another project that's sort of been sitting around for a long time is Charlotte's Dream Blanket by Dedri Uys, I think is how you say it. And it is a crochet blanket, and it's just, oh, that's the big one. Yeah, I'm like, what is that one? It's a bunch of, like, crochet squares. They're giant squares, and the goal was to make 12 of them, and then you just do them together. And I was thinking, oh, well, 12, that's not too hard, you know. And then I made, like, 7 and stopped and put it away for like a year and a half. So I'm almost done with all 12 like this, but this is not the end of the pattern square. Apparently you're supposed to like do this whole section on the outside, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to maybe border it with a row of like half double crochets or something like that, and then sew it together because I just really want to be done. And it's going to be big enough as it is. And I think I'm running out of yarn, so I don't want to completely run out of yarn and have to, you know, buy more, because the point is to be done. So I have one, I think I'm on my like 11th or 12th square. 2, count them here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh yeah, I think I have 10 that are done, and then I'm working on the 11th one right here, and I'm almost done. I just have to do really like one more triangle section on the 11th one here, and then one more total. And since I'd put it down for so long, I didn't remember what crochet hook I was using, and so I started with a crochet hook, and it was just this is the one, I think it was just really big and loose compared to the other one, and so I got like halfway through this one and then was like, no, that doesn't look the same, like it's not tight enough here. So I went down a couple hook sizes and was able to, oh yeah, this is the one that I used, which is the other thing about when you put something down and you lose momentum, you don't really, if you don't make good notes, hard to finish properly. You have to really do a lot of research. It becomes more difficult to finish it because I didn't make good notes in the first place, and then it's daunting. It's like, oh, is it going to be the same? Is my gauge going to be off? And all this stuff. So that is Charlotte's Dream Blanket, and I very desperately want to finish it. I kind of was in a kick for crochet squares after doing the Ziggy Interupted, so this was sort of like the next, it felt like a natural transition to try to finish this one too. Plus, it's in this giant bag that I made for myself, thinking, oh, I'll make a sweater bag, and I just thought the proportions were perfect at the time, and they're actually like, it was actually huge. So it ended up being more like a laundry bag or a blanket bag. So it carries a lot of yarn, which I love, and it's a nice drawstring bag, but it's so big, like that, it's kind of ridiculous how big it is. So it's like a good camping laundry bag, honestly. But anyway, so that's what I say all the time. All right. I just started, this is one of the new projects that I'm excited about, and I really want to keep momentum on this one because this was why I went through my stash the other day. I needed sweater yarn, and I ended up buying some. So this is kind of acquisitions a little bit and works in progress because I started it right away. So went to Starlight Knitting Society. They're over in Portland, and they are open during the week. And I just wanted something. I didn't have anything here. Like, I didn't have enough mohair that I could dye, and I needed something like right away. And I didn't have, I have enough fingering weight yarn, but it was the mohair. And then I was like, okay, well, if I have to go get mohair, I might as well just do the whole thing. I want to find something that matches. So I found this. It's Olann, and it is called Meara, and it's 100% fine merino. It says it's ethically sourced hand-dyed fibers spun in Ireland. And the color is Priestess, and it's this lovely olive color. I'm very much in love with olive, right now as a color. So I got this, and I needed mohair to hold together with it. And they had this. This is from Max, dyed by Delz, which I think is Max the Knitter's, yarn thing, yarn store or whatever. It's called Max's Khaki, and it's this amazing, look at that. That's just perfect. And I didn't want, I wanted a solid colored sweater. I didn't want a speckly or anything. I wanted it to just be kind of a classic, because I wanted to make the Calliope Sweater by Espace Tricot. I think that's how you say it. I don't know. And this one is the lace, kid mohair and silk. And then this, I'm already loving this Olann. I'd never heard of this particular base before, but it's soft and nicely spun. And I might be ending up getting more of this stuff in different colors because it's really, really nice. So those are my two that I'm going to make a Calliope sweater out of, and I started already. So when I was at the store last night picking it up, because I'd ordered it online and thought I'd just pick it up in store, I had to work yesterday, and I get off at 5. This is my new job, which I can tell you guys about in a little bit, but I get off at 5, and the store closed at 6, and so I was driving from Vancouver into Portland, which is usually, there's a lot of traffic usually around that time. I didn't think it would be so bad going from Vancouver to Portland, because usually it's people who live in Vancouver are working in Portland, so they'd be coming home at that time. But there were all these accidents and stalled vehicles on the road and stuff, so it took me forever to get there. And when I got there, they had it all packaged up, but then they asked if they wanted me to wind anything, and I was like, oh, maybe just one of each so I could get started, because I wanted to get started right away. So this is what I've got so far. It's just the ribbing, basically. And it looks like you do the yoke for a certain amount, and then you'll do some short row shaping to make sure to bring up the back. I don't like when a sweater is all one, they don't do any shaping, because I end up, you end up with bunching right here, because your back is higher than your front, and your shirt, some people's body structures work for that, but it doesn't work for me. So, yeah, if it has short row shaping or some kind of, back and forth to build up that back, it works I made their turtle dove, which I really liked, but it didn't have enough short row shaping for me, and that could be because the yarn that they used was so bulky, and the size that I made was one of the smaller sizes, so you didn't have as many options, you know, as much time to create that buildup. It did like 2 or 3 rows or something. I mean, it wasn't enough, and I still end up with like this thing here, and I hate it. So I never wear my turtle dove, which is sad because I used Woolfolk Luft, and it makes me want to rip it out and use something else. Use it for something else, because that was such nice yarn. Oh, so sad. So anyway, this is kind of my what I've been doing. I sat down last night and started, and oh my gosh, I'm really like loving it. And I think with my red hair, olive looks really good. At least that's my opinion. I think olive looks really good. I'm going to make the size number 2. It says the finished chest measurement is 44 inches or 43 inches. My chest is a 35. I'm trying to think about my sewing measurements. I think it's a 35. So, and they said it requires 10, it's built for 10 to 14 inches of positive ease, but the next size up would be like, I don't know. I didn't want that much ease. Like, I want it to be kind of fitted, but not like overly fitted, but not like overly bulky either. So I don't know. Too much ease. I don't like this sometimes on the sweaters, but I say that and then I make a fitted sweater and I don't like it either. So I don't know. Anyway, so I'm loving this yarn though. It's so awesome. And like I said, I just needed a project that I felt great about, like excited about making, excited about working on. Also something that wasn't too brain taxing. So the Calliope is, if you look on it, it's on Ravelry. Like I said, it's free. And it's pretty much like this ribbed portion here that's kind of just it starts with smaller ribs and then the ribs kind of get bigger, and then it's just stockinette like the whole rest of the way. So it's looks really easy in that respect. So I'm hoping that I won't lose steam and I'll finish it up, because I've been, like I said, I've been struggling a little bit with that, and that's frustrating. Anyway, so this is my latest project. I'm doing it on a size 6 right now, and then I think the main body goes up to a 7, which I think will be fine. I did a gauge swatch with the 6 because I thought it was a 6, and I was coming out to 22 stitches per inch because I was getting 5.5 stitches, 22 stitches per 4 inches. And I think the gauge is supposed to be 20 per 4 inches. So, and that was on a 6. So if I go up to the 7, I should be a little bit closer. I was just a half a stitch off. So, in my inch measurement, so if I can get down to just that 5 stitches, that will be perfect. So I think that will work. And usually my gauge swatches end up being a little bit tighter than my actual garment for whatever reason. So I don't know. We'll see. But I wanted something that I could knit on and not have to really like pay attention to what I was doing. So that's that one. And then I am working on a sewing project too. I had so much steam from making all the swimsuits, and then my sister wanted me to make her a swimsuit, and that anytime it becomes a job, I no longer want to do it. And so I lost a lot of my momentum, but I finished her swimsuit, and I wanted to make myself a pair of shorts, but before we went on vacation, but I got all the way, like I was frantically working like right up to the end before we left, and I got to where my shorts were mostly finished. Here, I'll go grab them, I'll show you. They're really great, but I'm not done with them. So these are the Dawn jeans by Meghan Neilssen, and I wanted to do the shorts, and I got to the point where I went to try them on and they were too tight because I've gained a little bit of weight over this last, year and a half, because I've been baking a lot more and drinking a lot more alcohol and all this stuff. So I'm trying to be better now. I'm trying to be less, be more mindful of what I'm doing and not drink so much. But anyway, so they weren't fitting because all of my weight goes to my ass and hips. That's just where it goes. And it'd be nice if it distributed a little more evenly. But anyway, so I went to put them on and they were really, really tight. And this denim doesn't really have any stretch to it at all. So I had to let the seam out on the side, which I did. And when I did that, it helped quite a bit. But then my waistband that I had cut wasn't fitting. So I kind of lost track a little bit because I was like, okay, well, I don't have time right now to fix the waistband before we go on vacation. So I'll just have to do it when I get back because I just couldn't. I wanted it to be good. I was doing such a good job on my stitching because I was really focusing on top stitching and stuff. So I was trying to make it look, actually professional, and I felt like I was doing a good job, and I did not want to just do some half-ass job on the waistband. So see, I even did designs on the pockets. Those aren't the best. I mean, I could have done it. I've probably done better, but they were this has been my first attempt at top stitching. So that's been kind of fun, interesting project. But I did learn, when you top stitch, I didn't realize. So top stitching thread, is way more, it's way thicker than regular thread. So I thought you put top stitching on the top, and then, normally you have their bobbin thread is the same as your top thread. So I was like, oh, that's the way it must be, with this. And I did my buttons like that, and oh my God, it was a nightmare trying to make the buttonholes. And then I was reading a little bit more, and they were like, no, you just put the top stitching on the top and you use your regular bobbin thread on the bottom. So once I switched to that, I felt like it's been more, it's gone a lot easier. And so that is the Dawn jean shorts, and they're kind of a high-waisted, and I really do want to finish them. So that's something that I will have to kind of get going. Again, I think I had cut out the waistband that would work because I went up a couple sizes on the pattern and then tried that because you just need the waistband to kind of fit around, and have a spot for your button and stuff. So it's really, it shouldn't be too big of a fix, but I wanted it has a little bit of a yoke back here. So I wanted the swoop of the waistband to work right. And I'm still fairly new to sewing, so I don't feel like I'm that great at that kind of stuff yet. So we'll see. But like I said, I cut it out and it's ready, hopefully. And I have great little jean buttons that I want to put on it. I mean, it's all I'm very excited about it. I just lost a little bit of my momentum with the jeans when they didn't fit, and that's frustrating. And yes, I should have made a muslin, but I was kind of going off my measurements and thinking with jeans, you want them to be kind of tight because most of the jeans that I wear have a lot of spandex in them, and I didn't really think about that when I started making these. So these just have no stretch whatsoever. They're straight denim. I love the material, and I might actually make a shirt out of it. I'm not sure because I still have a lot left. But I just, I wasn't thinking about ease when I was making the garment. Now, I also started making the Burnside bibs, and I'm very excited about these. So this is a pattern by Sew House 7, and it is very popular overall pattern. And there's two different versions. One has like a looser back area that when you pull the straps kind of connect to the back and then tie, and that's how your straps stay in place, so they don't have any kind of buckles or buttons. It's all attached and then tied around your waist or tied behind your waist to give it the support it needs there to hold them up. So there's two versions, one that's a little bit more loose in the back, so you get like this gathered, and one that's a little more fitted, but with the fitted one you put in a zipper. So I decided to make the fitted version. I was originally going to do the looser version, but I don't know why I decided to end up doing the zipper one. I just felt like after looking at photos of other people's, I want the tie like around the front. I thought that was super cute. And most of the people who were able to tie it around the front like had the zipper version, but I don't know if that's just because they were tying it around the front and not like tying, like I don't know. So anyway, but I did great with putting in the zipper, and I'm working again on my top stitching here because I wanted them to look like, overalls that you bought. My top stitching not super great on this one, but again, I'm still new, so my lines aren't always like the straightest, but so there's a little bit of the top stitching I've done. It's in this beautiful like dusty rose kind of linen, and has these big legs and then back pockets. So I'm really close to the end. I'm fixing up the straps right now, and then I'm attaching the facing to the overall bib and the waistband, and then there'll be some belt loops that you put on the back. But I did a good job. Like I attached an invisible zipper, and like I did so good. It's all like straight and like not bunchy, and it's just like I'm so proud of myself. And I guess it went down. Well, I thought I had it open a little bit more, but it doesn't. Like the zipper itself extends a lot further down into the garment than it actually opens up. But I'm really pleased with how it turned out. So that was kind of daunting because I've done in zippers before and I've not been thrilled with how they've gone in the garment. So I watched a couple of tutorials and was able to kind of figure it out. So that is something I want to finish today, hopefully, or maybe tomorrow. It's Labor Day. We're coming up on Labor Day weekend, but I don't have any major plans. So I think I have to drop my dog at the groomer tomorrow, and then I have all day to do whatever. So, I mean, not whatever. There's probably chores and stuff I have to do, but, kind of whatever. So, this is on the plan to finish these and maybe finish those socks this weekend too. But that might get on the back burner again because I like this new sweater I'm making. So, we'll see. So, some of the other things, that's all that not all that I've been working on, but that's most of what I've been working on. Oh, breathe, Janine. Get the oxygen into your brain. I have bought some more yarn. So I wanted to show you guys that, and I have some, but I do have plans for most of it. I mean, when I buy sock yarn, I don't usually have plans for it, which I'm trying to be more mindful. Like, I'm only going to buy the yarn if I have a project I'm going to make for it. But sometimes, Instagram draws you in and you are like, oh, that's so pretty. Let's just buy that. I'm trying to be better. But aren't we all? When I was at Starlight last night, the guys there, by the way, the people there are so amazing. Like, the guy who helped me was so fun and really great, and I just had a good attitude and stuff, and I really, really appreciated that. But a couple weeks ago, we had gone to the beach for the day, I think. I'm trying to remember why we were. Yeah, I think we just gone to the beach for the day because Matt's mom and aunts were staying at the beach, and we had just talked about just going for, just to walk on the beach and spend the afternoon. So we met up with his mom because she happened to be there, the same beach. And we went for a walk and, hung out and did all that. And it was just beautiful. It wasn't warm or anything, and it was kind of in the middle of the week, so it wasn't super crowded. It was just nice, and there's something therapeutic about the beach and the ocean and the sounds of the waves and stuff. It's just great. So we did like a really long walk, and then on our way home we stopped in Ilwaco. So we went to Long Beach, which is in Washington, and on our way home we stopped in Ilwaco, and wanted to get some fresh fish because they have like a pier right there, and there's a lot of fishing that happens out of Ilwaco. So we went down to this kind of little, down by the pier, it's a really rundown town, most of it. Like when you drive through, you're like, what the heck? This is like super kind of like, you can tell it's like in decline. Some of the buildings aren't being used. They're, not occupied or boarded up or whatever. But there is this area that if you drive down to the pier, there is like a couple fish markets, the place where you can launch your boat, and there was a yarn store like right next to the fish market. So I was like, well, shoot, while you're gonna get fish, I'm gonna go in here and see what they have, just cause. And they had it was a cute little shop. The owners had their dog in there, which I think is no big deal. I'm not allergic to dogs or anything. So, but he was just this big, like, white old dog. And he's just kind of hanging out, but not even interested in me when I walked in, like nothing. But they had some, I can never say it, Araucania? I don't even know. Araucania or something like that. It's from, I think it's Knitting Fever company, like they source it or whatever. It's a fingering weight 75-25 superwash merino, and I kind of went through. They had a lot of like hand spun that they had spun and they were selling, and there were some beautiful combinations of that there, and they had roving and different things. And I looked at the hand spun and I was really debating, but I wanted something that I'm getting coffee as soon as I'm done here. That's a fact. I wanted something that I could have enough of to maybe make a garment with another color. Like I was thinking of making I had these minis, and what if I did a Ziggy Interupted with but just did straight gray during the zigzag part, and then just colored during the crochet little square panels. Like I thought that would be super cute, so I was thinking about that because I had been wearing my Ziggy that day, and I just finished it, and so I was very inspired by it. But so I bought two just gray tonal, which I thought, well, I can make this work. There's like 880 yards here, and I haven't actually looked at the pattern that I'm thinking of now, but with the other yarn I bought last night at Starlight, it should be fine. I was at Starlight, and they have Spincycle yarns, which I really like their yarn. I do not like buying it online because I feel like when I bought it online, I get the skein and I'm very underwhelmed because all their skeins are so different. Sometimes the person that's picking them out for you might not be might not have the same idea of what that skein is supposed to look like for you. And I had been looking online, and you see these colors and stuff on their pictures, and they do show you all different varieties of way these yarns are. But you just get this idea in your head, and it's when you order it online and it doesn't come back that way, it's maybe more muted. It's not what you were expecting. It's just kind of disappointing. So I've had a couple disappointing. I love the yarn, like the feel of the yarn's really nice. I really like the idea of the yarn, but it's one of those yarns for me that I have to purchase in person because I can't seem to trust somebody to pick it out for me because they might not be in the same, they're just thinking, oh, here's a skein of this is the name of it, and throwing it in. But I have an idea of what it's supposed to be. So just, I guess for other people who maybe haven't purchased Spincycle before, it is one of those yarns that is very different from skein to skein. So if you are at all particular about what you think it should look like, then finding a store that actually has it in person is probably the better way for you, because even the guy I was talking to last night, he said the same thing. He said he ordered one from some shop in like Minneapolis or something like that, and he said it was like the most underwhelming skein he had ever purchased. And it's sad because it's great yarn, and it's used in a lot of different patterns, and even like those ones that aren't as much as you think, like when I have done patterns with them, I've really enjoyed like the subtle color changes, but sometimes you want something that's just a little bit more. So anyway, I found this there, and it's like light blues and grays and browns and stuff, and this is Space Oddity is the colorway. And they had two that were very similar, which I thought was great. And I thought with this would be even better. So right next to them, they had all these Andrea Mowry patterns, and one of them was her, oh gosh, I'm losing it. I lost the name of it. It was just in my head, guys. Stone cropped. Thank you, stone cropped. And she does a cardigan and a pullover sweater, and they're usually it's like a crop sweater. And I have a lot of dresses and stuff now that I've been making, and I want like sweaters to go over them. So I thought, I could make a stone crop out of this. It's got some bobbles and some texture and stuff. So that's sort of the dream that I have for these four skeins of yarn. I looked at the yardage requirements because they had a paper pattern right there. So I was kind of looking at the yardage requirements, and I really was just focusing on the yardage requirements for the Spincycle. And for most of these smaller sizes, it only required 2 skeins of the yarn. So I was like, okay, well, that's great. I'll get 2 of these. And then I think with my Araucania or whatever you call it, Waraka, or I don't even know, Hasko sock, that would make a great, kind of neutrally pullover sweater. So that's the plan for these. That's the dream. So once I get the Calliope done, that will be the next one, I think, on my list. But I didn't pay attention to how much of the regular, color you need, and I'm hoping 880 yards will be enough. Although sometimes, I don't know if you've ever done this, I have a scale, so sometimes I'll weigh out the yarn, and if you get more than 100 grams, then you have more than the yardage, right? So I could have a little more, a little bit less. That's kind of like they were saying, these ones from Olann, the Meara ones, each of the skeins are slightly different lengths, but they're marked for each length. So this one has 370 meters, and this one also has 370 meters, but the other one I had 301 meters or something like that. I mean, it's definitely not the same amount. So that was the oddity with those ones. But that's my dream knitting for that yarn. And then I, this was an Instagram splurge, and it was some mustache yarn, So they're perfect self-striping sock, must match skein. So there's like 250-gram skeins here. And I think like, what's this one called? It doesn't even, Intergalactic. So it's like gray, and then you've got these like stripy colors throughout, which I thought was so cool. So that'll just be regular old socks probably. Don't have a major plan for that one. Anyway, guys, that was a lot. It was a long episode. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I know there's still so much that's been going on, and I would love to share it, but I'll have to share it next time, I think, because an hour and 15 minutes is a little over my normal. So have a great day. Have a wonderful holiday weekend if you're here in the States, and thanks so much for watching. Bye.